Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of Dialogue Horizon. In this new episode, we will dedicate the whole episode on the economic situation of the country, starting from the the huge resources of the natural resources of Sudan, and then complying with the recipe of the IMF and World Bank, and the potential for attracting investors in Sudan to invest on the natural resources of the country, so that we will have a surplus very soon. After a few years, we have a surplus between imports and exports. And that should be the ideal case, when we have a surplus instead of the protracted deficit of about $5 billion every year between the imports and exports. Imports almost amounts to about $9 billion, and exports hardly about four billion. So the gap between the imports and the export, which is the deficit, it seems that it could widen if no drastic changes are made on the policies of the economy of the country. That's why we have our friend Dr. Yasser Al-Abeid. He's doctor in economics, he's specialized in economics, and as I always introduce him, as he's a person who roamed different parts of the African countries. When I talk about African countries, Dr. Yasser, I mean that there are some similarities between the situations in these countries and in Sudan. Some of the countries, they manage to overcome the difficulties and to stabilize, at least to stabilize its economy and to start growing, like, for example, Rwanda. Yeah. Rwanda, it had very hard years of civil war and genocide, but now Rwanda is one of the most stable countries in Africa, and it is growing. So welcome, Dr. Yasser Al-Abeid, on this episode of the economy of the country. First, let me ask you about what is your views, or what is your comment on the economy of the country in the past few months after complying with the recipe of the IMF and World Bank? Is it stable? Are the prices stable, going up and down, or scarcity is still there, or some? Just tell us about your feeling about the performance of the economy of the country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Faras, for having me here in this program, Dialogue Horizon, and my regards to all the people who are behind the cameras. It's really the economy of Sudan since the revolution came, so it's really faced a lot of challenges. So much challenges in the economy because of what you have mentioned in the deficit on the budget, and deficit in the economy, which has been the difference between the import and export is so much now, maybe about $6 billion, and having so much problems in the debts of Sudan. It's really reached up to $60 billion, and the inflation it's really increased so much until it reached to this. Maybe it's reduced up to came down to 3.66%. And that also the soaring of the prices, and so a lot of problem in the economic, and the problem of the product products. In fact, is production. It is one of another challenge in Sudan. Is still also the problem. Sudan is trying to solve the problem through the international community and through the international institution, through the IMF and international bank. And the international bank has its own condition and terms and condition, and he put the condition. It's really one of it is about the subsidies and about whatever, and about about the subsidies, so to remove the subsidies from the economic, and really that one also it has another impact on the community and the social life. It's really put a lot of problems of in the inflation and something like that, because we don't have a production, a well production, so that can face these problems. And about the subsidy should come at least maybe gradually. To remove the subsidy should come at least gradually, and you have to cover that one with the production and some of some of export. The economy of Sudan is really faced so much economic, but how to solve the problems and the reforms of the economy cannot having the results within maybe 1 year or something. Maybe it can take more than that. Maybe it can take 2, 3, 4 years, at least, to see the differences in
the near future. So you think that the economy of any country, or the economy, is the driving force of the politics. The politics and economics are integrated.
Yeah.
So good policies, depending on resources and strong economy, will definitely make a result, a positive result on the political system and the economic system.
True.
Okay, if we go to the one of the reasons that everybody, we all know that Sudan has huge resources, like the vast lands for agriculture, like the millions of livestock, different kinds, like the minerals, but don't you think that the absence of statistics, this is one of the basic, you are an economist and you know that you depend and you base your theories and your calculation on correct statistics. Don't you think that, are you happy with the statistics of the country now? If you ask somebody at any time, can you get a figure which you want? Let us suppose you want to know how many millions we have in livestock in Sudan, so that you want to plan for slaughterhouse, to plan for meat processing. So do you think the data available and accurate?
Before I just reply the question, maybe let me go back a little bit to the stability. What you have mentioned is very important point. Also, the economic is really go parallel with the politics, and they go together. The stability of the situation, especially in the politics and the security, is really one of the important basics for the economic. Without that one, you can't find stability, or you can't find economic stability and financial stability with internally and externally with the international community. Coming back to the question,
statistics about the data.
Statistic, in fact, one of the main challenge in Sudan since a long time ago, maybe since the 70s, 1970s, 1980s, we have a big problems in that. Statistics in the economy, which is we have in the resources, with statistic of the agriculture, the statistic of the products, and the statistic of the production, especially. And this is why, in fact, the door is being opened for a lot of things, even in the smuggling and whatever, and some of illegal things. And statistics, in fact, even in our currency, in the national currency, we don't know how much our currency, which has been printed since long time, maybe
nobody knows the mass of
the vast. Nobody knows up to
monetary
now,
mass.
even the central bank, even up to now, cannot know that. So we can't know up to now our hard currencies, which is with others, with peoples, with people, with companies, with whatever, in an illegal economic, with illegal whatever. So we have a lot of, we don't have scarcity of the hard currencies. We have a lot of hard currency. Maybe it's, according to what we have in statistic, maybe about 20 to 30 billion US dollar, which is being moving around Sudan, which is that maybe can take Sudan to the disasters, to sink a lot of things. So we have to put this is one of the priorities in our economy. We have to put it one of the important points in our economy. So we can't move, we can't go to the reforms, economic reforms or financial reforms, without knowing what would you have in our whatever, even especially in national currencies,
okay,
and even in hard currencies, and even all the things.
So you think that I agree with you. You think that the economy. One of the reasons why Sudan elevate its vast resource, huge resources, since these resources are not here in Sudan for couple of years back. It's since, let us say, before independence. So let us talk about after the independence. So as if you are saying that the poor governance of the country, throughout these 60 or 65 years, it led to this situation. Although Sudan, everybody knows, the globe knows, Sudan, one of the richest countries in the world, maybe because they have resources, one of the rich, but yet its people are one of the poorest in the globe because no proper utilization of the resources, the vast resources, and as you said, also statistics, very poor statistics, nobody knows, and when you don't have a statistics, definitely this encourages it encourages the smugglers to take everything out and discourages the investors to come because they don't know the exact number. Okay, agree with you. Okay, Dr. Yasser, if we go, you are as an expert. Now there is a lot of controversy in the issue always raised in the globe by the poor countries, let us say, or the underdeveloped or the developed countries, by taking the recipe of the IMF and World Bank. There is controversy. Some people, they think the compliance with the recipe of the IMF completely is not good, is bad, and it will result in bad effects or social effects. Some others, they believe that without complying with the recipe, when somebody is in trouble, like in Sudan, then you have to try almost everything. I read something very interesting, Dr. Yasser. Somebody, I think Hudson, yes, Hudson. He said, when you are in a hole, stop digging. When you are already in a hole, stop digging. Don't. So you have to accept. Stop digging means don't try to put initiative because you don't have all alternatives. So what do you think of the recipe of the IMF? And after we tried it in Sudan, it resulted in escalation in the currency, the foreign currency, the prices. But after removing subsidies, this consequently stopped smuggling of resources from Sudan, imported resources which we paid money. What do you think? What do you think about the recipe? Is it good to have to remove subsidies, or you like subsidies?
IMF and International Bank interfere when the economy is reached to the point that you cannot solve it by the normal tools. And that is having two sides, internal one and external one. Since the history, when you go to the 60 years, we have to try to solve the problem through the IMF with the international side, and we leave the internal side and the internal tools. And IMF try to interfere. When they interfere, it's putting all the terms and conditions of it completely. You have to fulfill that terms and condition, and you have to follow that from A to Z. Now the things, even situation around the world, even in financial way and in finance and whatever, it's completely being changed now. It's not like before. Not like in 70s when there is surplus in the countries and international institution. Things now is really became changed now. It became completely different. We have that maybe we imagine that we think that the IMF can support up to the end. He can't do that. At this time, after the financial crunch and the financial problems, the crisis in 2008 and 2009, so that a lot of things have been changed in international financing to the countries and to the others. Things is being changed now because even the IMF now, because the countries which is supporting the international bank and supporting the IMF, it's not like before, because the financial way, the financial system now is being hit in its heart since 2008. In Wall Street and in Central Europe countries and Central Bank of Europe, and now most of the countries now is in problems, especially part of Europe. This is why we have to look on another solution. IMF, International Bank, is trying to solve the problem of the debts areas, and that bridge loans is being paid by USA 1.5, and the rest being paid by France. That one is tried just to activate our account in International Bank, so that we can go and look for international finance and whatever. Still, we're in problem because of political problems and security problems. It cannot give us at this time because until stability, still we have to fulfill the old terms and conditions. We have to look for FDI for indirect investment. We have to look for companies, international companies. We have to look for international banks, at least to support us with just with another ways. So we have to give them at least some package of interest in the country. At least we give them at least.
No, but I ask you personally, because you are there is a controversy to two people. You yourself, you believe that removing subsidies is something good or not good for Sudan,
for Sudan,
applied.
you can't remove
What
the
about
subsidies just in one time, in one dose. It is very difficult, and that is what the difficulty in the economy now and with the people, reflected in the people, because the economy for the people, it's not for the social, for the community. So at least to remove the subsidies, and you have to recover that one with production. At least to increase the production in one area, you have to increase it with whatever. When it comes gradually, it will be much better, because most of the subsidies being lifted in the world is been lifted like that in Algeria, in Jordan, in whatever, and the way we are putting the subsidy and supporting the community, it is in fact it was comprehensive, and that's one of the problems. You cannot put the subsidies just comprehensive. Like in France, that the subsidy is just only in trains and whatever, and because of the labors and whatever, so it cannot afford to pay the tickets of that. This is why the France government support that one. In USA, they're supporting those small farmers in some whatever, buying their things and whatever. So it's, that sector is being supported. Maybe in other countries, Arab countries, also the subsidies are there. When you lift the subsidies, you cannot lift the subsidy without recovering that gap.
But Dr. Yasser Ahmed, yes, I agree with you, but the situation in Sudan, we all know that it reached the state of surgical intervention.
Yeah.
So gradual, so when somebody reaches the state of surgery, you have to intervene by a surgeon to cut something or to remove something. This is what happened in Sudan.
But this one,
that's why I believe that gradual it will not work. And even the most powerful, the regime, the Assad regime couldn't remove subsidies, although it was paying dear hard currency of the Sudanese people for feeding others, neighbors, because because of subsidy prices were very low. So the surgical intervention which happened 2 or 3 few months ago, it worked. Nowadays prices are very high, but things are started. At least there is no scarcity. Now there is abundance, but price is high. This can be bridged by samarat, by direct payment. What do you think of this?
In this point, when you come to the surgery, we have to put a program, at least emergency physical shock program. That internally tools we have with IMF recipe, you have to go on that also internally. That one, when the economy reaches to the point that you cannot solve it with the normal procedures, you have to go for a program, physical shock program, emergency programs, whatever. So that one package is this. You have to put it just maybe within 2 years, maybe 3 years maximum. How to going to support the strategic commodities? How going to solve whatever? How going to reduce the imports? How you going to do to at least to reduce the government whatever, so that you have to go for a program, full program. That quality shock physical program, that at least for 2 years maybe. So that one can solve part of the problem. So this is why we just only we depends on that side, and you have to solve it with something like you have mentioned, that samarat is one of the part of the solutions, but you have to increase that umbrella with another also more than samarat, to be 5-6 samarats with different models maybe at least. And you have to look also in economic, you have to look for a economic model so that can solve before the problem, to at least to jump to the reforms. We can't jump to reforms without solving this type of problems, at least in the economy. So you have to look for that, and I still up to now the door is open for the program. You have to look for a program. I think so. Maybe the coming government can do that one. Maybe you have to do that one. If they're going to do that one, the problem is going to be there, because still we have a challenge of production. Still we have that there is no vision up to now for the production. The vision in all these resources is still not there, even especially in agriculture, in irrigation, in the problem of the agriculture, all of it. We don't have don't have research laboratories at now, a scientific one. We don't have it in the university like Khartoum, like others, like agriculture ministry. It is really one of the ideal, I think so, ministries. We have to look for that one. Maybe also we have to get more technologies in irrigation. We have to look for it. This type of irrigation, the traditional one, cannot work at this time, because it's going to increase the production so much. You can't compete with your products, with your crops or whatever internationally. We want to go to the International Trade Organization. How can we go in that one without competing with our production in whatever, in Gum Arabic, in whatever, in all our production is really, the cost is so high. So high because still we are using traditional way in irrigation, in seeds, in whatever, in all this, in fumigations, maybe in whatever. So we have to look to make a revolution in this side of it. If you go to the other side, also still we have a problem in minerals sector. So this is another problem also. It's really up to now we can't say that we're having a program or we're having this vision or strategic vision in this sector. Sector is still up to now is 95% is traditional way. So we have to look for how can we increase, how can we do the revolution in that side of.
So you believe that the removing subsidies something is not bad, but the government should have catered for the side effects of this by direct
I agree
payment.
with you.
But what about you mentioned something about other alternative FDI, the foreign direct investment.
And portfolio also.
What is foreign direct investment?
Foreign direct investment, you have to call for the whole international companies and the whole investors. Private sector. And international investors. It is international community, even financially and even in business and whatever, in all the sectors in agriculture, in trade, in the oil, in whatever. You have to look for this. This is one of the new tools for finance.
Because
there is no direct finance at this time from international.
Okay, Dr. Yassi, what attracts FDI, the foreign direct investment? What can we do, or what are we supposed to do so that we attract the foreign direct investment?
First of all, renew the infrastructure, especially start from the law, investment law. We have to at least to renew the law to be settled to be set for at least for the whole investors, at least for how we're going to exchange the money. They have to how going to transfer the money, how going to put the money, how is going to do the whatever. What is the terms and condition of the sectors of minerals, the terms and conditions in agriculture, terms and conditions in animal resources and livestock, terms and condition in services, whatever, whole services. At least if you want to open the door for investment in railways. In fact, you have to open for the whole international IDA for this is foreign direct investment, and you have to look for also for companies internationally and companies from the regional wise and the companies from international like the United States of America. You go to China, you go to European countries, all the European countries. Also, you have to call them to give them all the facilities in the how we're going to give the land and the conditions of the lands, the conditions of transferring the money, the condition. You have to renew the laws, and you have to do the all infrastructure. Like when you speak about the countries, the companies can go to the all the states in Nile state or the North state or in the Darfur state. You have to pave at least the roads, the railways, communications, everything.
So this can be also can be put as a priority. I agree with you. The FDI or the foreign direct investment, the government should have started or can start by the infrastructure. Give some encouraging act that people will come to rehabilitation for the railways, airways, shipping line, roads, communications, power, electricity and water. This will be the fairest. If this is solved in 2 or 3 years, then people will definitely, when they see that everything is intact, in Sudan, infrastructure is good.
Set and stable.
Then the political system is stable. Okay, Dr. Yasser, you mentioned also something very important. I want to ask you about it. You mentioned something about WTO, the World Trade Organization. Sudan, I myself, I worked a long time ago. Sudan worked very hard for almost now 30 or more than 30 years to join the WTO, the World Trade Organization. Till this moment, Sudan is not granted the membership. I myself, before 15 years, I was in Hong Kong in one of the sessions of the World Trade Organization, and also Sudan started to make some breakthrough, but it stopped due to the unstable political systems. So what is the World Trade Organization, and why Sudan till this moment for 30 years failed to join the World Trade Organization? And what are the benefits if you join the World Trade Organization?
World Trade Organization, WTO, is one of the main tools for the globalization, one of the main tools for the at least transformation of the world in financially and in trade. And it has a lot of criteria to at least to join WTO. You have a lot of criteria and a lot of terms of conditions. You have to fulfill that one in agriculture, in whatever, in your industry, in manufacturing and whatever. So that a lot of criteria in that. Even in this type of water, you have to go to at least to follow all the terms and conditions and the criteria of WTO. And WTO at least give you the ways to the international companies, to international manufacturing, to international technologies. At least there is a lot of exchange between the countries and the other countries, international companies, and another also countries. So there is a lot of benefits from that. And that terms of condition, locally still we have so much challenges on that, especially in our manufacturing, in our production, in our crops and whatever. So many in all those commodities, you have a lot of that challenge. That challenge is not an easy to join WTO until you fulfill that terms of condition, that
prerequisites.
Yes, it's not that easy because still foreign in our things. Just maybe traditional ways in how we are going to, at least in peanuts, in whatever, in our other Arabic, the criteria is really, it needs a lot of support from the government, from the private sector. Private sector is really very far from what we are talking about.
And also, I just want to remind you about one of the important prerequisites for the WTO is subsidies. They never encourage subsidies because you want to compete. That is why America till now is not a member in the World Trade Organization, WTO, because America, they subsidize the cotton, especially the cotton. They subsidize the farmers, the producers.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
subsidize the
Yes,
consumers
it's true.
like what we are using. We are, when we import something and we put money from the government so that the consumer will have it at a low price, this is not a good idea. But in America, they subsidize the producers, not the consumers. So one of the reasons is the subsidies. So that's why
You can't get the loans and borrow the money from outside, and you put subsidies on that, and you sell it to give it to the people. Nobody can accept that one.
nobody can accept
Yes,
that.
nobody can accept that one. How can I give you this money in a difficult way, and you're going to put subsidy in that one, and you give it to the people like free?
This can be smuggled outside so that some people
Cannot be accepted. You have to put the subsidies in the final products at least, like the bread, whatever. Instead of you put it in the wheat. So this is why WTA put this is one of the significant point in the
subsidies.
in
Not subsidies. To have to be fair.
It's not allowed.
Fair
Now at least now we are in a proper way. After we have know that we have been lifted the subsidies maybe 1 year ago, and things is difficulty, but at least we are in a proper way.
So this
Now we are in proper way.
Probably this takes me directly. This question is also you answered it, that WTO is not easy to join because the prerequisites of the WTO are requirements because they want fair competition.
Yeah.
Their philosophy.
That's fair competition is a point. It's really
fair
the point.
competition.
Yes,
because they always, their philosophy of the World Trade Organization, that each and every country should properly utilize its own resources. So this takes me directly to the issue. We have resources. The WTO, the World Trade Organization, will help you to not to export raw material. So this takes me about what is in economy, what is the effect of adding value or putting the strategy of not exporting any raw material. You have to add some value to it. Can you elaborate on this? Because we have, like cotton, we used to export cotton as raw cotton in big bales, and also the gum arabic. So no value added to it. So what is the advantage of adding value to our natural resources? Ironically enough, Dr. Yasir, till now we are exporting livestock alive.
Very shameful.
Very shameful.
Very shameful. Really very shameful. Now, up to now, we are in this millennium, and
you know, it's not a joke. It's something funny. the sheep, when we export the sheep to the countries, neighboring countries, the Gulf area, like Saudi Arabia, I hear that let us say the sheep, they buy it for $100 to $150.
$100.
The skin,
yeah.
the skin of the sheep, the same sheep, is more expensive. Its value is more than the sheep
itself.
So this is funny.
True. This is one of our problem, and this is what part of our problem, and the whole third world and the developing countries also has the same problem of adding value. They fear how to manufacture these raw materials to at least to be transformed to the production transformed to the instead of you just export cotton like that, raw like that, really is something, and export that livestock like that, really is something.
Is there any
you can cry on that when you see it like
element of corruption?
It is part of
some people.
It's true. Part of it is in corruption because. We have seen last maybe 2-3 years also this happened also before 5-6 years and before even 10 years we remember that one also, exporting our livestock like cows and whatever and sheep and whatever. That is also it is part of smuggling, and there is mafia on that one doing so a lot of problems, and this mafia is fighting even the policies for the government, at least to try not to the government to put that laws or to put something restrict on that one. They don't want that type of things. Because these people, almost of them, they're working like an agent with another countries to Sudan to destroy our economy, to do very bad things. In fact, by the way,
corruption.
And this is really something.
It's very bad. It's not nationalistic. These people they should be hanged, because I hear that. Just correct me if I am wrong. The gum arabic, which we export as raw as it is, the ton is exported at, let us say, they say about 3,000
something like that.
dollar.
Yeah.
When they make a little bit of processing, the same 3,000 for the same gum arabic goes up to maybe 12 or 15,000 for a ton.
Gum Arabic, it's really, we can't find the world, the belt of this gum Arabic, except in Sudan. 90% of it in Sudan.
Of the world.
And cannot grow in any, anywhere in the world. If you find one bag of gum Arabic, maybe after the overseas, in everywhere in the world, really is being produced in Sudan.
Yeah.
You can't find it anywhere in the world.
Because Sudan have
The only climate,
85%.
is only climate of that of this
In a belt, a very
in a belt,
narrow
yes,
belt.
in a belt in Sudan. Start from Darfur to Kordofan, up to the Damazin, up to the Blue Nile. That only. Maybe part of it is in south of Nile, Al Jazeera state. Adding value to this gum Arabic, it is really not that difficult. So you have to change it from here to put it to process it to the powder only. It's not that. And that powder, it is you have to add small things. It is not that difficult. It's been I heard there is one is been formed in Jabal Ali in Dubai.
Why in Jabal Ali? Why not in Khartoum?
That's part of the that's part of the
Why? This is very bad.
The corruption, by the way.
This is corruption.
Part
That's
of
why
the
I mentioned corruption. Yes.
Part of the corruption.
Why
it's not-
Jabal Ali? Why not
Yes.
in Darfur or in Kordofan or
Maybe
Blue
can
Nile?
be here in the duty-free zones here.
in Khartoum, yes.
You can do it here. You
But
can do it in Port Sudan.
Because they want to reap.
To smuggle it through all the countries and come there to Jabal Ali,
very
just
bad.
like our
This is
even
very
our
very bad.
like our gold even itself even the same way.
The same
Most of
way.
it is being smuggled outside and being just sold and being traded to the other countries. Maybe in the neighboring countries, even most of them they became one of the exporters in the gold even and other products also from minerals also. That's part of the corruption, and we need a lot of policies. We need strong policies. We need policies. We need laws. We need strong laws at least to stop that one. Not matter of just security or whatever. No, only most of the countries like cashew nut in Tanzania, you can't sell 1 gram without government.
Yeah.
You can't sell it. The cashew nut is being monopolized by the government itself. If you want just to open an LC from Tanzania to Europe, you have to open it to the government itself.
No,
There is a company there.
that should have been done. Yes.
Should be have done in
So
Sudan.
your advice maybe to any coming political or any leader, any political strong leader in Sudan is the first thing to do to stabilize the situation, the economic situation, is to issue a decree for completely prohibiting export of any raw material,
Yes.
whether it is
Should
livestock,
be.
whether
Should
it
be.
is gum arabic,
Yes.
whether it is cotton,
Yes.
without adding a certain percentage
Yes.
of value.
Yes.
Let us say 50,
Yes.
80%, nobody is allowed to export. Any smugglers should to kill, or what do you think?
This is, I think, so can be killed, because
Yes,
this
because
somebody
this is-
destroying our economy like that in open ways.
Yes, sure, sure.
You have to put strong laws and strong policies. You should put that one. At least many countries in Africa now they have moved from that type of smuggling. Like coffee,
This is
even
disqualified. Yeah, this is very
coffee in Kenya, or maybe the tea in Kenya also the auction there. So the policies of the auction, you have to buy the whole countries like Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, whatever, and you go to Mozambique, to Angola. They come there and selling their products of tea and coffee, and nobody can sell 1 gram outside the auctions.
So you think that establishing a purification plant or cleaning plant of gum arabic in Jabal Ali, not in Sudan, by Sudanese people,
Yes.
is a crime.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
a
crime.
crime,
Really, it's
a big crime.
It's a big crime. It's a
Okay.
big crime, and we have to look and
Those who are-
to study that case. We have to study that case and how we are going to solve that problem openly.
And the
We have to solve it. We have
perpetrators
to
should
put
be
alternative
hanged.
to how we're going to form these factories here or in.
Why is there any
duty-free
justification? Do you think, as economists, do you think is there any justification, benefit for making it in Jabal Ali, not in Khartoum?
Yes, yes, a lot of
It's not
benefits.
bad, it's very bad.
Individual benefits, not for the country. It's not for our economic. Something very individual. So not
The
for
country, the system, yes. So you have somebody must come and say that nobody is allowed to export
To
any
export.
raw material.
It's at least to put that one very clear, to put it very clear, you have to study even the market internally and the market externally, and you have to know how much the cost of 1 kilo or 1 gram
Yes.
or whatever, and after that you give them fair price, and you have to sell it in openly.
Yes, and this Dr. Yasir in itself will encourage, will not encourage, will force the FDI, the investor, the foreign direct investment, to join hands with Sudanese to build plants inside Sudan
Yes.
for
Yes.
the fulfillment of the decree of not exporting anything raw, especially gum arabic. I came to know that gum arabic almost goes in the most important industries like medicine, the pharmaceutical industries, like the drinks, fishes drink water, in almost everything.
All the
Food preservation.
and even beautifications itself even is
So
part.
it's almost-
Beautification is one of the good and much better than any part of the manufacturing. It can go also that one. Most of these German go to the France, go to the United States of America, because they're natural products.
So we need a really nationalistic whose heart he has a sense of real belonging to the country.
That is what we have.
Sense
lost.
of belonging
That's
is so strong. The country will in few years, 4 or 5 years, will just grow.
We can move,
and
we
grow.
can move.
And people will be forced to come. The foreign direct investment will be forced because they know the resources
Something
of
very
Sudan.
painful, my dear.
Very shameful,
Mr.
very bad.
Farhad. Something very, very painful. In fact, when you see something like this, guys go to the others without even benefiting from
very
it.
shameful.
Even our people, our economic, our whatever, our institution, our banks cannot even get even a single cent from this type of
This is very bad.
cashew nut is something else. It's not something important and strategic products. Gum arabic is strategic products for the whole, most of the world. Coca-Cola,
The world, yes.
Cola, whatever. They can't work without that one. This type
He,
of product.
he takes it. He takes it from Sudan. He, the Sudanese,
Yes.
takes it from Sudan
Aye.
at 3,000. He
Yes.
pays $3,000 per ton. He take it to Jabal Ali, make some fabrication. He, the same person sells that for 12.
And you can buy it from the other smugglers from Central
This is very bad.
Africa, from Chad, from whatever, from South of Sudan. And they
This
just
is very sad. This is very sad. Very unfortunate. This is very sad. Those perpetrators
it needs a decision.
should be-
It
should be-
needs a
should be-
vision and decision. It's fact, by the way. It needs a
should be
decision and a
penalized.
strong vision to solve the problem. It's not that nothing is difficult, Mr. Paras. Nothing is difficult to solve this problem. If you need someone just to solve the problem, I think so. It's not that
You have
difficult.
the will and you the resolve. You have the resolve, the will and the strength
Yes.
and the nationalistic.
That is an
attitude.
important
Okay.
point.
Okay, Dr. Yasir. Okay, let us move. Yes, that we cover this, which is very good because it is really sad to have such practices of corruption like this, which is very detrimental to the country and to Sudan. And that is one of the reasons why Sudan, although it has all these resources, it is still one of the least developed countries in the world.
Yes.
One of the 32 countries. Okay, let us talk about Port Sudan. Port Sudan, as we all know, the Red Sea, we have about 258 kilometers on as an outlet, international water outlet to the world. Sudan has this advantage. And it has Port Sudan and other small ports, but all in the same area.
Yes.
So the closure of the port for the last 48 days, for the last, it was opened a few days ago, definitely it had a very detrimental effect, bad effect on the flow of export and imports, and maybe one of the reasons for the prices and the scarcities from now and then. Now it's open. First of all, the East people, the bigger people, they have their own claim, some legal claim they want. They started, not all of a sudden they closed it. They gave ultimatum to the government so many times, but the government did not pay attention to that. Anyhow, it happened. Now, do you think that this should lead actually to thinking of other alternatives, but not depending on only one outlet, one sea outlet? Bearing in mind that Sudan is surrounded by 8 landlocked countries.
Yes.
landlocked. They don't have water or sea. They don't. So what is your comment on this issue of the closure of the port and the main road to Khartoum?
As you know, Mr. Harris, Port Sudan is located in a very important and significant water in the world, in Red Sea. This is very important and strategic for even international countries, start from USA to the whole European countries, to the Russia, to the China, to whatever. Port Sudan is located in very significant areas and important because connected with the African horns and whatever. And this is passed through the sea side. Maybe 26% of the oil world passed through that side.
Through this
26%, yes.
Red Sea.
And we have to rehabilitate. This is a good chance to rehabilitate at least Port Sudan from ports or whatever, for whatever. The location of the Port Sudan, it is really affected the economy so much. For almost, I don't know how much more than a month or 2 months or whatever.
48 days.
48 days, almost 2 months. So this is one. It is really affected the economic and is really also putting so much problems and heavy problems for the people bags. Because of the prices, because of the whatever soaring the price. I've seen the price how it's been soared in these 2 months or 1.5 months, especially the wheat, especially the sugar and whatever, and that's a problem. It costs maybe 30 millions daily. It's been lost. That is because the ports you lose maybe more than 30 million US dollar daily. And maybe more than that, maybe from 30 to 50 million US dollars. That's a lot of money for Sudan. This is all to our treasury and whatever. As you know that the East issue, it is really a political issue and can be solved. Can be solved with that. How with their rights, how they give them whatever. At least we give them their shares in the government, central government, and give them whatever. And that is one of the issues which has been from the history of the Sudan. It is from a long time. To solve the problem, at least we have to look for a solution around the world, because we know even Port Sudan and the rest of the East having so much resources, a lot of resources from the ports, the service of the ports, and that one can feed all the people there in the East there. From the port services of the port and whatever that we can make a revolution in that area, so we can do a lot of production there for the people. They can do a lot of things there. As you know that many ports like Port Said, like Mombasa, like Cape Town, that type of ports, it is really being developed and pumping so a lot of money to the countries. At least we have to do that. We have, as we know that one of the biggest areas in Africa in minerals and in gold, it is in Red Sea. And many reasons we having one of the biggest projects in the world. This is called Atlantis 2 in Port Sudan. But this is it is company between us and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia should finance this project, and one of the biggest projects in Port Sudan. We have to look for these things, all together, so we can solve the problem of the East easily, without but only just paying for them and give them and whatever. Even we can do a lot of production in that side of the country, and at least we can do something on that, on the East, all of the East minerals and the projects and the ports itself. So the ports can be developed at least on services way. As we know that 26 to 30% of the oil of the world going through that area, more than 4,000 ships going through that way, from military or trade or whatever, or oil, to go that side.
So you don't as economists object that the Sudan government to invest on the Red Sea, because Red Sea, as I said, it is about 200 or 58 kilometers.
Even in military base, you can invest all that one. There are many
I mean commercial building new ports.
Yes.
Now Egypt is building in Red Sea so many ports, although they have the Mediterranean.
Tons. You need a ship to receive a ship or more than 100 tons. You can't receive at this time.
So we can hire it, we can buy,
Yes,
the
you
government can hire it for developed countries,
We
any
didn't,
country.
yes, we didn't, in fact, use the location well up to now.
So we have to
This
invest on.
location, it is really one of the biggest one and important location in the world. So we have to use it at least to get benefit from that one. It can bump to you a lot of money.
A lot of money, yes. Definitely, this will.
So let us put a vision. Let us at least we can call for international experience house can come and make a study, feasibility study for the area and for Port Sudan, how to develop the port, how to develop the areas, how to at least to work in to develop this area, to make services for the rest of the.
What about the river ports like Kosti, like Khartoum North? We used to have very good, very strong
Yes, so-
river Nile this department, and it used to. It was a link actually between Sudan and South Sudan, from Kosti to down to deep in South Sudan, and it works. The river ports work well. Do you think
From Malakal to Kosti,
Yes,
from
yes,
Kosti to at least to the north of
Yeah.
Sudan. So you can use that one also for a lot of things, even for transportation, for whatever you have to transport your things and products. Even the fish itself, fishing way. That is one also one of the.
Yes, that's river. Okay, thank you, Dr. Yasser Abed. We covered a lot about the economy of the country and the potential of the country as far as the economy is concerned, as far as resources are concerned. We have the resources, but we don't have the resource and the will and the proper strong governance to look after these natural resources so that the economy can improve. Thank you, Dr. Yasser Al-Abeid, for being with me in the last hour or so. Thank you, dear viewers, for being with us in the last hour. We hope to see you next week in a different issue. Goodbye.